This is BKL Nightly on a Thursday, on a perfectly timed Thursday too, because we have big Bills news. Buffalo trading for Bears receiver DJ Moore. We're going to talk all about it today. What it cost, was it worth it? How does it affect the Bills going forward? I'm Thad Brown along with Caleb Carr and Rachel Libert, full house as always. And guys, I've been reacting to this on like every platform in existence right now. So I'm going to let you guys have the floor first. Rachel, just overall, let's start with the player, the Bills adding DJ Moore. What did you think?
Okay, so I like DJ Moore, and here's my story about DJ Moore. So
you got a story? This is awesome.
It's not a picture. I mean, it's not a story. It's like my personal why I've like kind of liked DJ Moore over the years. Mm-hmm. Thursday night, week 5, 2023 season, Rachel's fantasy team.
Wow.
Rachel's fantasy team not doing the greatest. I mean, it's okay. It's Thursday night, but like outlook not looking great. Mm-hmm. DJ Moore. I start seeing the points adding up, turn on the Thursday night game, 49 points from DJ Moore.
I remember
so ever
that.
since this moment, DJ Moore's been like kind of high on my list. I was like, oh yeah, he's out there. I kind of like him. I mean, I know his production has declined since maybe that moment exactly, but I kind of like this pick. I mean, there's a lot of the money is a big factor, and we'll get into that. But overall on the surface, I kind of like this veteran guy coming in, someone who I think needed a change of scenery from Chicago. I think Buffalo might be the place where he can succeed, so I like it.
So this is I'm looking it up right now. This is you said 23 though, right? Not 24?
2023 season.
So not 24. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. I'm stopping the
fact
whole
checking
show.
me?
No, I just want to see what the game was. Oh, all right. Yeah. So this is the Commanders game, 8 for 230 and 3 in a 40-20 win. And yes, I could see how that would
ever since
begin
then,
a love
DJ
affair.
Moore, yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So
Caleb.
He had a pretty big season this year too, and I was a DJ Moore fantasy owner this year. He had a pretty big game. I think he threw for a touchdown. He caught a touchdown, threw for one. It was weird, but he was up in the 40s areas for that too. But like I said, I was a DJ Moore fantasy owner this year, so I know that he kind of had an up and down season with the Bears. And there's some factors, the Ben Johnson scheme, does he fully fit in there, whatever. And then also, they had Rome Odunze, who was very good at the beginning of the year, Luther Burden and Colson Loveland, who kind of emerged in the later half. So there were a lot of other pieces there that kind of contribute to maybe why he didn't have as good of a year. I still think that he's very good. I still think he definitely has the capability to be a number one guy, to be an X factor might be strong, but superstar, like a star. Like he has the ability to be a star for this team. So I personally really like it as of right now.
The Bears game you're referring to that I also looked up was against the Bengals this year, which isn't saying much because who didn't have a big game against the Bengals this year? But 4 for 72 receiving. Here's the interesting part. He had a rushing and a passing touchdown, but not a receiving touchdown.
No receiving. It was a rushing touchdown. Okay.
Exactly.
That's
and still a big fantasy night though.
Joe Brady might like that. Joe Brady might like that.
I would think there are things he can do.
I'm sure there's plenty of things he can do.
That is something that you do get from DJ Moore, is that he is going to be effective in the short area, in the intermediate. He can get down the field. I think he tracks deep balls really well. I like this move because DJ Moore is a professional, competent number one. He is a guy that can do that job. You're not going to question it. Or at least you shouldn't have to. We'll see. But you shouldn't have to wonder what kind of player is going to be. He's going to know where to be. He's going to know what to do. He's going to get to the right spot. I don't think he's elite physically right now in his career, but he ain't deficient anywhere either. He can run. He can be strong at the catch point. He's got solid hands. The other thing that I think stands out too is he has not missed a game in 5 seasons, which in the diva world of receiver.
Knock on wood.
Exactly,
yeah,
right.
Say, knock on some
would
wood.
that be the ultimate bad beat if he got hurt with Buffalo after 5 straight seasons? I guess.
Thad, stop. Thad, just stop talking.
I know.
Thad, just stop talking.
Wouldn't that be weird,
You're going to
everybody?
get clipped. Just stop talking.
So I like a lot of what I'm getting with DJ Moore. Again, I think we need to understand that at almost 29 years old, he'll be 29 in April, so 29 when he's on the field. This is probably not an elite physical player. He's not going to moss people. He's not going to run by a lot of guys, but he's going to do all the things you want to do in terms of being a number one. And the Bills have not had that since Stephon Diggs. So what level of number one he's going to be remains to be seen. You talked, Caleb, about the scheme in Chicago and how much that impacted him, because in 23 he had 96 catches, in 24 he had 98. Last year he had 50. And one of the things that I pointed out on X today was, look, there are reasons that might be okay for why that production diminished, but the receivers around him that ostensibly are the reason Chicago felt it was okay to let him go, I don't think you can really use that because Rome Odunze was good early and then banged up and not very effective late. Luther Burden, as many rookies do, took a while to get going. Colston Loveland as a tight end didn't get going until week 11. How much do we look at what happened with the Bears as a way to excuse 50 catches? Are we telling ourselves a story a little bit to think that, well, he's going to just be fine. It's going to be a number one. That 50 catches doesn't matter last year.
I think there's definitely like a concern. I believe it was 50 catches, like 680 something receiving yards.
682.
682. If it went from, because he was putting up, like you said, 90 catch seasons with like 900 to 1,000 yards on the year. If he went from that to like down to like maybe an 800, then I think we could say, okay, I think it's just that. Dipping down to 682 is a little bit concerning, but it still isn't like incredibly concerning to me because of the fact that, like we said, there were still other big players on that team. Although they weren't all consistent throughout the entire year, I think we can say that consistently it was DJ Moore plus at least one other player that they were consistently trying to get the ball to. Like I said, 682, 50 catches, maybe a little bit low for my liking, but I think that converts to still a solid 70 catch, 800 yard season when you look at the fact that there were so many other factors in Chicago. I do still think, I don't know that he can be a 1,000-yard receiver again, but I don't know if the Bills need him to be a 1,000-yard receiver. The Bills can probably get by or do better than get by with him just doing 60 catches for 800 yards.
Let's move to the compensation here because the Bills traded away a second-round pick for Moore. They get a fifth-round pick in return. Rachel, what was your gut reaction to the payment for DJ Moore?
I mean, the payment, I thought it was maybe a little bit, it's a high dip for the Bills to take. I mean, it kind of makes me think of all the other free agency questions of, okay, who's going to maybe restructure a contract or who are they going to let go now? So I do think it is maybe a heftier price to pay than you would think for somebody like DJ Moore, who, like you said, took a pretty big dip in production these last few years. But I do, giving away that second round pick and still having the fifth, I don't think, yes, you would want to have that second round pick, but I think if you're kind of filling that hole in your receiver, if that what you assumed would have been a higher draft pick for the Bills looking at their board, I mean, I think the fifth, you can figure out things to do with that. So I think it's an even exchange, but I do think that it is maybe more expensive of a trade than maybe I thought the Bills would go this route, especially for someone who is 29, who hasn't been a wide receiver one in the last few years.
For comparison, the Stephon Diggs trade was a second round pick going out from, I don't want to say this. The Bills got a second in exchange for a fifth and a sixth, so almost the same trade. The Amari Cooper trade was a third and a seventh going out to Cleveland in exchange for a sixth. So Caleb, these trades are right on par with the last two big name trades the Bills have made, with those two big name trades having wildly disparate results.
I was quite surprised by the two, I think, the second rounder. There was, we talked about it a little bit before the show. There was a significant amount of time between, okay, the Bills are making this trade and what are the Bills, like what is the actual trade? Like what else is involved other than DJ Moore? So there was a while where people were expecting, I thought it'd be like a mid-rounder. When I say mid, like third, fourth. So when I saw a second, I was a little bit concerned, especially because at least right away, the Bills are bringing in quite a bit of cap through DJ Moore. Now, obviously, they can restructure that, like the lower third said, down to $7 million. I do think, like Rachel said, that fifth round definitely helps because you're keeping. Now, obviously, there's a big difference between a fifth round pick and a second round pick, but you at least still have the same number of picks. That fifth round that maybe helps you. I mean, if the Bills really want to move up, maybe they want to move back up into the second with that third round pick. That fifth round might help you with some to throw into a trade for some value to move up further if you want to. So the fact that they got that fifth round is big, and I think if they can reconstruct, yes, I said that right, reconstruct. I thought I said that wrong. If they can, move around some stuff and help with the money, then I think that's big as well.
To me, caping the pick, not sacrificing one of your lottery tickets entirely, was a big part of this for me. To be able to make this move when still have 7 picks in the draft makes sense. I do think a second for a player like this is probably a little on the steep side because Again, he's coming off a down production year. You would think you'd be able to maybe get a little discount on that, considering, hey, Bears, he only had 50 catches for you. Why am I paying a second rounder? So that did bother me a little, but I think it's nitpicky. I think the other part of this is too, like we said earlier, the Bills have kind of needed this for a while. I needed a guy like this. So if they're going to overpay to secure a receiver that you can count on to be a number one, I'm probably okay with that.
Hypothetical for you. So they ended up trading a second away and got DJ Moore in a fifth. Would you feel more comfortable if it was a third round and just DJ Moore without that fifth pick? Or do you feel, or would you rather them trade away the second but still keep 7 draft picks like you said?
It's a good question. I probably would feel a little bit more comfortable
with the third.
No, now that I think of it, no. I think I'd rather do this than just a straight third. Because
I don't think you're getting DJ Moore for anything less than a third. You're not. I don't think you're doing a fourth unless you're doing wild stuff with like future picks. So if we're talking just straight up, you're not getting anything with the fourth. So I think it would have to be a third.
Like I said, I think it's nitpicky to be unhappy about it. Let's move it to the compensation side. You brought up the contract part of this. So they're going to have to take on a $24 million cap charge to bring him over, but then they can immediately flip it down by restructuring to about $7 million. So I think the initial cap charge works out just fine. You're not hurting your cap initially doing that. No. The thing that was of a concern, and I don't know how accurate this is yet because it's just an initial report and we're in don't believe agent season right now. But according to Drew Rosenhaus, who is DJ Moore's agent, the Bills have guaranteed some of the 2028 money. I think when you look at this move, this is probably a 2-year move. The guy's 29, he'll be 30. After that, do you want a receiver at your age 31 season? Unless he's ridiculous, probably not. So having him for 2 years is fine. If the Bills have guaranteed money into 2028, Rachel, that's where I start to have a problem with the contract side of this.
I think that is maybe, I mean, obviously that's just a report and we don't know, but that is maybe the biggest concern of all of this because that's a lot of money through, like you said, it could be a 2-year stint here and we don't know what his production is going to be. We think he could be the number one guy, but like you said, Thad, you kind of just jinxed him. He might get hurt now, so we don't know. But
it's all on me now. It's all on me.
But that's just the biggest thing is that's a lot of guaranteed money, and I did not expect that report to come out at all.
Concern again with being attached to him for 2028. Now you can, if sitting here right now without knowing any of the details, they could release him after 2027, even with the stipulation you're taking $15 million of dead cap when the cap might be $35 million by then. So you're talking about 4 or 5% of your cap. It's not killing you. And this is not going to stop me from making the move, but we're sitting here analyzing it. I think it does decrease a little. It's another thing to nitpick. We'll put it that way. I'm nitpicking the second round. I'm nitpicking the 2028 money. If you add up enough nitpicks, you might have a problem with it, but I'm not there yet.
I mean, I think it might be even a good thing too that we're trying to nitpick it because maybe bigger picture, this is a good overall trade. We're trying to find like small things that are wrong with it. And I think bigger picture, this was a good move at the Bills.
So to that point, how much does this help the Bills right now in terms of being able to make this team closer to a Super Bowl contender / champion? Remember, this was still an offense that was top 4, top 5 last year. It wasn't like they needed ridiculous help scoring points. Obviously, as we've talked about ad nauseum, basically since training camp, when they have to throw, there are too many times it looks like Josh Allen against the world. So this is better, but Caleb, how much better?
I think a lot. I think this this gives you a guy that can win one-on-one. And now we saw kind of towards the back half or the last few games that Brandon Cooks did that a little bit. He kind of had some spurts there, but I think this is a guy that you bring in and he has a full off season with Josh Allen, a full season with Josh Allen. I think he's going to be able to consistently win one-on-one, win those deep balls, and kind of grow a connection with Allen and be very, very good come when they need to be very, very good, which is the playoffs. And then, like you said, Shakir and Kincaid. Shakir had a lot of pressure on him. Now, Kincaid kind of, but not as much because of how hurt he was throughout the season. So he never really was in enough to have that pressure on him. But Shakir had a lot of pressure on him throughout last season because he was the only reliable receiver. So I think that maybe adding a guy like Moore could open up those two as well.
Getting more help. That's a good one.
Thank you. Very proud of that. Yes.
I didn't even notice.
I'm with you. I think this does a lot for the Bills. Like you said, that this was a top 5 team last year without really any receiver that was a wide receiver one. Even receiving core in general, there were games where it just was a non-existent. So I think net looking at this is a positive because they need all the help they can get. I think if you add one competent receiver, not that Shakir is not competent, but like someone that is, truly knows the wide receiver one role, I think that there's no negative I could see, pairing this with your run game with James Cook. You've got Josh Allen. I don't see this being a negative at all in terms of production from the Bills.
It's definitely not a negative. The question is how much a positive, though. Because is it worth a second-round positive? Because they could grab a rookie receiver in round 2 who, frankly, has as much chance as popping this year as Carnell Tate and being at the top of the draft. How much does he help? And one of the things that stands out to me is that I think it makes Shakir more of a traditional slot and not the guy who has to carry the offense as a wide receiver 1. It makes Kincaid a guy who can just be the other quality receiving option and not the only one that teams can focus coverage to. I don't know how much DJ Moore is going to drag double teams all day and really open things up, but it does help to spread the field quite a bit. And look, if
they love everybody eats.
Exactly. If DJ Moore at the very least can be a guy Josh Allen can count on to be open on 3rd and 7 more often than not, then this has been a huge win. But I'm hoping from the Bills' point of view that this makes things easier on everybody going forward.
I think there's a real chance that this could help Keon Coleman as well. You don't have him in the lower third, but we've seen him on video a couple times. Last offseason, there was so much pressure of, hey, Coleman's got to be that X guy. Like he's the only option right now. Other than, I guess before the season we thought that Palmer might be that option too. But even throughout the season, it was Coleman's got to grow up and be that guy. Now that DJ Moore's there, Coleman doesn't necessarily have to. Like Coleman can be the wide receiver 3 and be okay. So maybe that helps him. I don't know. At this point, maybe we're just making excuses for him by just trying for Keon, just trying to find reasons like, oh, this is going to help him. But I do think that maybe if DJ Moore's in the building and not everyone is looking at Keon the whole time, maybe it helps him a little bit.
To me, I feel like this might not help Keon Coleman.
Listen, it very well couldn't as well.
It might help Keon out the door.
I think maybe that's what I'm leaning towards. I mean, we don't have to get on the Keon Coleman subject, but just quickly.
Every single podcast episode turns into a Keon Coleman
We always
conversation.
come back to Keon Coleman. If you have a guy that now, Keon Coleman we don't know what his role was going to be, even if he was going to be with the team. Now you have a guy who's going to take over his role basically instantly. He hasn't even seen the field with the Bills yet, and he's going to be that guy. Yes, Keon can be, your number 3 or whatever, but I don't think Keon Coleman wants to be your number 3, and so I just don't see
think it's
that.
up to him.
I mean, I understand that, but I just don't think this is. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to help Keon Coleman, but time will tell.
Separate of that, in terms of how much he helps, I think we can all agree if he goes 50 for 682 again, this is a disappointment, right?
Yeah, for the price. Yeah. Now, for just from a Bills point of view, having a receiver that can go 50 for 682 it looks good right now.
Well,
but for the price
I
that
guess
you
that's
paid,
fair.
for the price that you paid for him, though, yes, that would not be good.
Well, all right, the reason I brought that up, for the record, Shakir was 72 for 719 last year, so they've had guys who have a guy who can already do that. Mm-hmm. What is, and it's not fair to just make a statistical number and say this is it. But what is the number? I mean, is it?
I think
75 catches is not even 5 a game. Four catches a game is, what is that? 68 in a season. So if he goes for 70, we're talking about 4 for 50 per game. Is that what you want out of your number 1 receiver, even in an everybody eats offense?
No.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah.
I think he's got to get to at least
80, 85 probably, right?
Yeah,
5 a game, 85.
Yeah, I'd say that in 800 to 900 yards. I'd say he's got to be there. But I will say that if he put up like a 700 something and Shakir continued to put up a 700 something and Kincaid came back and was fully healthy and put I don't even have a number, but he put up a reasonable number for a full season, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, as a number 1 wide receiver, that's not what you would love.
So going into the offseason, the Bills fans and we have talked about, everybody's talked about the number of different options the Bills could go with at receiver, whether it be free agency or some trades. So the one they landed on is DJ Moore. Doesn't mean they can't go after more guys. We'll talk about that in a minute. But do you think, Rachel, start with you, that this was the best veteran option the Bills could have gone after via trade or free agency? And you can consider the price that they paid for it too, whether it be draft compensation or contract stuff.
I think it's certainly up there. I don't know if it's maybe the best option. I don't know who I would even consider to be the best option right now, but I think for what this team needs and the type of receiver this team needs, I think Moore is maybe the best option in that regard. I don't know. I don't know if there's any options that I look at that are my number one. The Bills need this guy, but I think this move was a good one. I mean, I think this is, like I said, maybe best for what this team needs and maybe for what DJ Moore needs, like we said, in the situation in Chicago and his production going down. So I would say maybe, yeah, this might be the best option that the Bills could have done.
I would say it is. I'm still on the train that I don't think A.J. Brown was ever truly an option. I really think that the problems there are more external than they are internal, like inside the Eagles organization. I don't really think there's as many problems as we think. In Evans, I think Mike Evans is the only other one that comes to my mind, and he's even older, and he's had injury concerns. I mean, we just talked about how DJ Moore hasn't missed a game in whatever
5 years.
Mike Evans cannot say that. He's not even close.
He's the anti that, yeah.
But to the same sense, Mike Evans is putting up consistent 1,000-yard seasons. But I think Evans is a little bit older. So I do think that DJ Moore is a better option than Mike Evans. And because I don't think A.J. Brown was ever an option, I think that means that DJ Moore was the best option.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same spot you are. I think A.J. Brown, if he were available,
yes,
would have been the better option, even if you pay a first and a third in 27 for him. That where DJ Moore is good, professional, competent. He's going to handle your number one. A.J. Brown changes your offense, assuming that he's engaged and has a good attitude and all that stuff. Yeah. Separate of that, yeah, I'd rather have DJ Moore at the expense of a second-round pick than any of the free agents, because Romeo Doubs, Rashid Shaheed, separate of Mike Evans. Mike Evans could still be a real good player. I'm going to leave that alone. The other guys available in free agency, to me, could have easily been Josh Palmer 2.0. Yeah. And Josh Palmer can still be fine.
Definitely.
But the production, the history, everything about those guys said this was just kind of a guy. Now, Shaheed obviously brings a benefit as an all-pro kick returner. Also, separate to that, though, as a receiver, there was not enough juice there to where I felt like spending a lot of money. And they probably would cost more, certainly in terms of long-term contract, if not immediate cap room. So I do think when the Bills, if they were going to add a veteran receiver, Moore was the one. And he does, the other thing about Moore, he does so many things for you. He can be good after the catch. He can be good down the field. I said earlier, he tracks the deep ball well. He has the speed to be dangerous vertically. He, like we said, hasn't missed a game. There isn't an obvious hole in his game, even if there's nothing, I think, overtly elite about it right now, maybe short of not ever missing a game. So I think the Bills did hit on the right veteran option this offseason. The offseason is not done, though. So the question now is, what do the Bills do going forward at receiver? Rachel, do we think for sure they need something else? Where do you go if you're Brandon Beane at receiver after this?
I think you do need something else. I think the draft might be the way to go for that, because you're bringing in a guy that's a veteran. I mean, this assuming he's going to be your wide receiver one, but you have, depending on who you draft and where you draft them at, I mean, I think they probably will have an equal chance compared to the rest of the wide receiver room right now to be a person that actually, you know, might be just below where Moore is. So I would say leaning towards a draft, because I don't think this wide receiver room is enough to maybe, I think it'd be fine if it's just Moore and that's the only move that they make, but I think they need something else to supplement the other, you know, areas that are lacking in it right now.
Let's start with this. Would you guys add a free agent? Is that even a possibility right now? And you can pretty much name whatever guy you want. Remember, it's not just Doubs, Shaheed. It can be De'Ami Brown or, someone who's a little lower down the depth chart. I wouldn't totally hate it, but I don't think the Bills need guys. They have guys and options. But are you on the other side of that? Would you add a free agent?
See, for the longest time, like literally up until today, no, you get maybe one big free agent guy or one guy through trade, and then you get another guy in the draft. The problem is I think the best spot to get that guy in the draft was with that second round pick. And because I don't think they're going to be able to get in position for one of those top three guys. But then the rest of, you got your Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, a guy out of Indiana whose name is slipping my mind right now.
There's two of them. There's Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good guys that are available late first round, early second, mid second. Like a lot of guys there that can be really good for you. But getting rid of that second round pick almost makes me think that maybe they didn't like them as much as maybe we thought they would. Maybe they're like, it's the top three, or it's these two guys, or that's it. Like we don't want Concepcion. We don't want Boston.
They're paying the going rate for the guy they have to get, and they'll deal with the consequences later.
Yes.
Rachel, on the free agency, would you add another free agent receiver or no?
I don't think I would. I think this is probably the I mean, the best you can do with the veterans, like we talked about. But I think if you want to add another receiver, it's got to be a younger guy that you can develop. I don't think you're going to go back and try to find someone that's older than Moore, or even like, I just feel like it's got to be a young guy that you can develop. To Caleb's point, I do think second round was the best place that they could get him. Not saying there's not talent out there in those later rounds that they could draft and develop, but I don't think it's going to be a free agent.
I'm with you guys. I would go draft over free agency. Now, I am not against them using, like, I would have a little bit of a problem with a free agent receiver. That seems like the wrong way to go about building your room. I don't have a problem with them using a first round pick, depending on how the draft falls. You can't predict how things will look at 26, and there are enough varieties in terms of edge rushers, linebackers, safeties, receivers available that any year predicting 26 is impossible. I think it's even harder this year. If there was a guy that stood out to where he really is a lot better than what else is available, I'd be okay with them taking a receiver. The other thing about going to the draft, while you're right that round 2 would probably be a sweet spot, you can get a guy at round 3 where the Bills are picking in.
You probably
80.
can.
Yeah.
You probably can. And maybe that's what that means. Maybe them getting rid of the second round pick, like you said, it might just be like, hey, this is the price we had to pay. It might also be like, we don't really see a difference between these guys going in round 3 and these guys going in round 2 and these guys going in round 3 or 4. So that could be as well.
Let me throw an idea ahead at you guys. With DJ Moore in, as we said, DJ Moore can do everything. One of the things he does is be your screen after the catch guy. The Bears did it a lot with him last year. Well, now the Bills have that guy. They have Khalil Shakir, who's really good at it. They have Dalton Kincaid, who's pretty good at it. If you're looking at your draft flavor, I think I would prefer more of a Carnell Tate, who's on the screen right now, as opposed to a KC Concepcion or a Zachariah Branch, who are more
I would as well.
Fast guys.
But I don't think the Bills can get those guys. Those are guys that are going like top 12, top 15.
The point is not those guys in particular. I'm talking about the style of receiver.
Okay.
In other words, I think they now not have to, but I think I would prefer to see them go with more of a down the field, big bodied kind of Denzel Boston type guy, and not the shorter, speedier,
similar body type to Keon Coleman.
Yes. Hey,
no, I know it is. That's
And
what they
back.
need. The problem is that's what they need.
Yes. This is what I'm saying. But the point I'm making is that if KC Concepcion, who I like a lot, is available to pick 26, I don't think I want him now.
Not anymore.
He doesn't fit on this team. That's what I'm saying.
I
I think you need to go with a different type of receiver in the draft.
I think the only way I'm comfortable with them going with a guy in the first round is if it's a guy like Denzel Boston. I think he can be that guy. I find it hard to believe that they're going to go in the first round though, unless they go a lot of defensive guys in free agency. Because unless they can move back up into that second round, you got your first round pick. You don't have another pick until the third round. I find it hard to believe that they're going to put so much emphasis on offense in the receiver room that they're going to trade for a guy and take their first round pick at
I'm
the
with you.
position.
I don't think that's the likely maneuver.
I don't think it's likely, but I don't think I'd be surprised because I think Brandon Beane has been pushing this. We're going to be aggressive and we're going to revamp this room. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it'd be the right move. I agree with you guys, but if it happens, I don't think it'd be the most shocking thing in the world.
The Brandon Beane aggressive or the I have to be aggressive thing is an interesting point to approach the rest of this offseason.
I just feel like he might. Not that he's going to make the wrong decision, but I feel like he might just
make the aggressive
take
decision.
That aggressive approach.
There might be a hint of
rebuild and rebuild.
There might be a hint of all these people asking questions of why did McDermott get fired and not you? That might be getting to his head.
Yeah.
He might be like, I got to do something.
Well, I think there's a guarantee of that.
Yeah.
But backing up what he said about, sometimes I'm too aggressive. It's not out of the question that creeps into his thinking. And one of the best things you could say, and Josh Reed, who's on the show occasionally, brought this up a while ago, that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, one of their best qualities was they never tried to be the smartest guy in the room. They always did things that just made sense. Now, though, the heat has been turned up, the pressure's been turned up, things have been said that even every human being eventually has I don't want to say a breaking point, but they do feel the pressure. And Brandon Beane might have reached that point here to where he feels like, to your point, Caleb, I have to do something. And to Rachel's point, I have to be aggressive when I do it to back up all these things I've said about me to begin with and kind of also make the fans feel comfortable with what we're doing as an organization. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of BKL Nightly. I want to thank Rachel and Caleb for joining us as always. We'll be back again on Monday. The open tampering period is on Monday, so we will have more news to discuss. This will be a very busy program, I'm sure, for the next few weeks. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you again on Monday.